Hi everyone, it's Sandy with Animal Education and Rescue. I am going to be doing occasional evening posts of emotional stories that will inspire you. So I thought tonight I would share with you the story of CJ. CJ is a Beagle Lab Pit Bull mix that we took in almost probably going on 5 years ago now. And he just got adopted by his foster family, going on, could be close to 5 years later. So I thought it might be kind of nice to hear CJ's story. At the time, way back then, and 5 years ago is a long time in the world of rescue, we were working with a transport organization that would send us a list of dogs and cats that needed rescue. There would be short descriptions of the animal, how old they are, what their personality was like, with one picture. And at the time, we were pretty darn full of animals, and we had actually we didn't have any open foster homes. And up until recently, what I would do is, even if we were full, I would always say to myself, okay, I could squeeze in one more dog and I'll just work and pray to find a foster home for the dog. And in the interim, I would keep the dog at my house. So I did a lot of that, which is very risky, and I don't do that anymore, but it worked for me for many, many years. So as I was looking at this long list of like 200 or 300 dogs and cats that needed rescue, I saw this little puppy who was about 6 months old, and basically it said that the dog was a friendly, outgoing Beagle mix, and that he had been living at a veterinarian office or hospital where he had had surgery for a leg that was injured, and that no owner came forward to take him. He had been hit by a car, and so they kept him until he could find rescue. And because of his situation, they really wanted to be able to get him adopted. They also had him spayed beforehand. Neutered beforehand. And so he was ready to go. And I thought, okay, well, I don't know, for some reason he spoke to me, and so I decided to take him. And so he came on a transport on a Saturday morning, which was the normal time for a transport. And I took him in, and he went just briefly into my lower level basement, which we had set up for temporary housing of animals. And I reached out to Nicole and Mark, who were longtime fosters, and I said, please, can you squeeze one more dog in? And they said yes. And so Nicole and Mark took in CJ, and that's what I don't know if he came with the name CJ or we named him CJ, but in any case, he went to their house. And let me tell you something, he was hyperactive. He was a handful. There were so many times early on that Nicole would joke with me, you sure you don't want to switch with CJ with one of your foster dogs? And I would say, oh no, I can't have CJ at my house. And I said, thank you so much for taking care of CJ. I really, really appreciate that. And so they toughed it out, and the first couple years that they fostered CJ, we tried so hard to find him a home. And I think we had 2 applications for him, and neither one worked out. CJ is good with other dogs, but there are certain dogs that he can be a little bit iffy with, and also he picks and chooses a little bit the people he likes. So it put a little bit of obstacles in our way. And so the first couple years, the couple applications we got did not work out. And I promoted that dog like crazy, trying to find him a home. And nobody was coming forward. Meanwhile, we were finding out that his past was actually a bigger deal than we were told. Not only did CJ have one leg broken, but actually both of his legs had been broken at one point, and pins and all sorts of foreign stuff were put in his legs to stabilize him. So that veterinarian took him under their wing and fixed him up. He must have gotten hit by a car and damaged really, really badly. Well, let's fast forward to, I don't know, year 3.5 or so, and CJ started to become lame. And we were very concerned. We brought him to an animal hospital. Come to find out, he needed to have, don't quote me on this, his knee fixed, his hip fixed, I can't remember which. And I thought, oh no, what are we gonna do with him? How are we gonna do this? Because one, it was $5,000 to fix his leg. And two, he would have to have extremely limited mobility for a long period of time. And he was really hyperactive. So thanks to our followers on social media, we raised the $5,000 to have the surgery done, and Nicole and Mark rallied around CJ, and they moved him to their office rather than being with the other dogs, and that way he could have access to the front yard to go to the bathroom on leash. And the first surgery was done, and guess what happened? Short time later, his other leg went out and he needed a second surgery. So we did it again. We raised money. So now we've raised $10,000 for CJ, and his foster family now keeps him in the office, and he goes through the second surgery right after the first surgery and recovers from it. Meanwhile, again, no one is interested in CJ, and he's now getting older. He's about 4 years old or so. So then we fast forward to just recently, where a wonderful, wonderful family had come into some money, and they wanted to make a donation to us, and they asked us, or they told us that they would like to donate some money to us, but they would like to do a matching funds. So as much as up to $5,000, they would donate to us if we can raise the $5,000. So we scrambled, we did this fundraiser, and you guys came through again and were able to raise the money for us. So then we ended up getting a very generous donation that we don't spend the donations that we get. We are very conservative of how we spend our money. So it was just sitting in an account. And just recently I came up with the idea, you know what? This lovely, wonderful family donated that money to us. Our followers matched it. I said, why don't I do, for the first time in history of animal education and rescue, why don't I offer the foster families that they do not have to pay the adoption fee for the animal they're fostering, and we will take money out of that fund. And so if anybody wants to adopt the animal they're fostering, whatever that adoption fee is, we will take it out of that matching funds, and they can adopt the animal. Now, I will say we are not fans here of doing free adoptions. So, you know, some of you may know about the Clear the Shelters, or people giving free animals away for free. In both those cases, that makes us uncomfortable. We believe that there has to be a exchange of energy, or a exchange of, you know, the animal has to have value. But in the case of foster families, they already know the animal's value. They already know, they're already taking care of them. They already know what wonderful animals they are. So I sent a text message to all my foster families, including CJ's family, and they are actually fostering quite a few animals for us at this time. And within 24 hours, guess what happened? They texted back saying we would like to adopt CJ. So that wonderful family that donated that money to us with the matching funds, their money is going to a wonderful, wonderful cause, and that's allowing animals that are already in foster homes to stay where they are if the foster family chooses, rather than having to be moved again. In the case of CJ, that was absolutely fantastic for him. I am so happy for CJ. I'm so happy for Nicole and Mark, his foster parents and the family, and I know that he is having a wonderful life. So CJ has been through an awful lot in his life so far. Some of it very, very hard, between getting hit by a car and really being in terrible shape, to the veterinarian that at their own expense fixed him as best they could, to the 2 surgeries CJ needed while in foster care, and his foster family nursing him back. He had a lot of earth angels around him, and now he'll have earth angels for the rest of his life. And I'm so happy for him, and thank you so much. So you know where your money is going when you donate to us, is we always try to do the right thing and help however we can. And in this case, CJ is staying in his now forever family. Thanks for joining me for this special, heartwarming story. Until next time, bye. Sandy Kamen-Wisniewski, Animal Education and Rescue.